Hello, everybody. This is Chip Baker. I'm excited. We are here with the heart of the matter with my guys, Dr. Jeff Springer and my man, DreTavius Parhams. And this is our second session of what we're doing. And we had a good time the last session. Just letting you guys know who we are and what we're about. But this one, we're going to dive a little deeper into more of a topic. And so at this time, Doc, I'll turn it over to you and you can get us rolling on what we're going to hit on today.
Man, I appreciate. I feel like I've been in the locker room, and well, I think I mentioned this last time. We're ready. I'm ready to come out, and we just come off Super Bowl Sunday, so I'm still hyped. I'm a little sad that football season is over with, but it's still game day. So
Yes.
So I want to get on the field. I've been thinking a lot about you guys, and I've seen the great things that you're doing every day on both of you, and you guys just motivate me. And I wanted to start off before and inspire me in all of the ways that you touch people and lead people and guide people. And but I wanted to read this. It says, "But the Lord said to Samuel, do not look on his appearance or on the height of his stature, because I have rejected him. For the Lord does not see as mortals see. They look on the outward appearance, but the Lord looks on the heart." And so I thought, oh my gosh, that's the heart of the matter is, what our episodes, what our conversations are supposed to convey. And so I think hopefully in our conversations, our listeners are going to hear our heart. And, and one of the things I admire about both of you is that you lead with your heart. And so I think that's why I know that's why I was drawn to both of you guys. But anyway, so the first time around, if you were a listener, you heard a little bit about each one of us and a little bit of our heart. And tonight we want to tackle a topic that called the principle of legitimacy, or just the word legitimacy. And so I was reading, several years ago, or this past year, I was reading Malcolm Gladwell. And you guys are probably familiar with some of his works, but his latest book is David and Goliath. And out of all the amazing points that he makes in the book, the thing that just, I always look for that one thing. And a major theme in that book was this idea of legitimacy. And so I thought before I just kind of throw a textbook quote out, I thought, well, I mean, what do you guys think about that? What do you think about when you think of the word legitimate or legitimacy? What comes to your mind?
I can go.
Yeah, Dre.
I know. It's funny, Jeff, when you first mentioned that we were going to be talking about this, I said, I don't know what this is. I've never heard of that. I mean, I may have heard of that word, but I started to ask the question is what context is he speaking from? I'm not sure. So I was like, I'm just going to be in surprise for when we do the show. But I did a little bit of research. I use ChatGPT, of course. And then I typed in what it means, and it says to respect someone or to respect your elders. And so it just means a form of respect. But that's what I got from research. I'm not sure. Maybe you guys, of course, when we continue to have this dialogue, I'll have a better understanding of what it means. But that's what I got from it so far.
Yeah, I like that idea of respecting your elders, especially since I'm the eldest. Chip, what about you, brother?
Just, when I hear the word legitimate, I think, I'm a music guy. I'm going to go back and this will probably age me a little bit. I think MC Hammer, Too Legit to Quit, right? Some other things I think of is, when you say legitimate, I think of authentic. I think of genuine. I think of having value. I think of having substance.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that those are the things that come up for me when I hear the word legitimate.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Dre, you were talking about, you mentioned the word respect. Um, you know, um, you guys know that I work for a university where I supervise future teachers, teacher candidates. And so one of the very first meetings I have with them, one of the first questions I ask them, because of this influence of what we're talking about, is I ask them as future teachers, why is it important for your students to see you as legitimate? And so I love to hear. So why would you think, as both of you being educators, or Dre going to be in the field of education and still a student? Of course, we're all students, lifetime learners. But why would you think that it would be important for a teacher to be seen as legitimate by the students?
But so just to clarify, legitimate means respect, right?
Well, legitimate okay, so Springer's definition is Dre, you're legit, brother. You're real. You have what Chip was talking about, substance. You have I see you as having value. It's that you have something to give, that you have you have no problem maybe extending yourself to others. You're real. You are who you say you are. You do what you say you do. I don't know, Chip, what do you think?
I agree. I think I think yes, um, legitimate, genuine, real, and just to answer your question, I think they need to know. I think the next thing that comes up for me is experience, right? They need to know that you have experience or a background, and your heart, right? Your heart is in the right place. And I think when you can start in that place, when you can start from that place, um, because people can see fake, or they can read fake, or genuine. People can read effort, and so I think when you give that effort, when you start with the heart, it solidifies your legitimacy. Right? It solidifies the fact that, oh well, I'm gonna just say it like where we from. Oh, he good people. you know, uh,
Yeah,
oh he all right. He good people.
yeah, yeah.
And so I think that's what it is for me.
Well, Chip, when I see you on Facebook and or
Mhm.
LinkedIn or whatever, and you're with your kids, or you're with a group of kids where you've been invited to speak, or at another meeting where you're leading adults, whatever. I mean, for you to be truly effective with them, they have to see you
Yeah.
uh, as legit, as or it's not going to be good. It's just not going to be, so I think we could talk about what are some of the things that you could do, as a leader or as a teacher, or and we're all leaders. I tell teachers every time I meet with them, whether you want to be a leader or not, you're a leader of that classroom. If you influence one person, you're a
Yeah.
leader. So, but what kind of leader are you going to be? Are you going to be, a leader that maybe is questionable, or are you going to be legit? I want to share three things that Malcolm Gladwell says. He says there are three criteria for, and Dre, maybe this will help a little bit. Legitimacy is based on three things, according to Malcolm Gladwell. People who are asked to obey authority have to feel that they have a voice. And if they speak up, their thoughts, their ideas, their suggestions, and opinions are going to be heard, respected, like you said, and considered. So students have to feel, colleagues have to feel, partners have to feel, wives have to feel, children have to feel, subordinates have to feel that they have a voice, and number two, expectations have to be reasonable. So whatever expectations you have, like, the three of us have to have, in this partnership, as we see each other as legitimate, we have to have expectations for this podcast that are reasonable. And then the last one is this one's hard, and this is really hard. I was thinking about it as a parent. The authority has to be consistent, fair, and all groups of individuals are treated in exactly the same way. The laws of the class have to be predictable. And so, it's really hard. It's so hard as a former teacher and a coach not to have the tendency to show, some favoritism toward an individual or a group. Let's just face it. There are some students and some people that are easier to love than others. But we have to be reasonable, and they have to feel like they have a voice, and we have to be consistent. So what are your thoughts there? Does that help?
Oh yeah, definitely, man. I think I'm just sitting here kind of taking in all the information that's being given right now, but when I do think about that word, my perspective kind of switched a little bit. Just to kind of go back to your original question, I think that students, well, I like to call them scholars. I think one of the key components to be able to establish that real relationship is transparency. Not to come into the classroom and the educators see themselves as a person that just distribute information all day long, but without having conversations or life conversations about their emotions and their feelings, or even bringing up some of the real life events that happens in our society and kind of bringing those conversations to the classroom. I think it's very important, because if people don't see that you're real and authentic and they sense a sense of fakeness, then that student or that scholar, I feel like, are not going to their way to do their work or to be a scholar. If anything, let's be honest, I have seen, and I'm pretty sure maybe you guys can attest to this, but some students don't do that well on standardized tests, or they don't give it their best for the teacher they don't like. Even when football, if the athletes really love the head coach, like they are in love with the football team, the football staff, they're like, man, I gotta give him my all. Coach come to practice every day. He show up and he give us his best, and he's there. He's like really, really there. He's not just looking at the football team as like, oh, we're there just to help me raise my status so I could go up. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like when you are real, just in every life, just have a sense of a higher respect for you. Not only that, I feel like they'll be willing to do more for you because they know that's real and authentic. And I think that's rare to find in today's society.
Yeah.
I'm about people being fake and giving fake energy, or they're not just authentic. They're not really not showing them true selves, So I think that character, I think is so important, because people will be more willing to even help you when they sense that you're real, you're authentic.
Yeah. So I love that, Dre. I love that example. You've heard that, I guess the cliche or the statement that, someone will say, I would run through a wall for you, or I would do, I would do whatever, because I doubt seriously that players or teammates or colleagues would say that if they didn't see that other person as legitimate, So what kind of things, let's take, Chip, let's talk about, in society and just in general, what gets in the way of people seeing each other as legitimate?
Ooh, I think
Hey, that's a really good question, by the way.
Yeah,
That's a really good question.
that's
You
a
like how
deep.
kind of just like snuck that. We got a
Yeah,
little talk about deeper. Yeah, a little deeper.
yeah, that's definitely deep. I think I heard this before. I think a lot of times, kind of like Dre was hitting on in the school piece. I think um sometimes we give people labels, right? And so I heard this, you can't love anyone beyond the label or limit that you place on them.
I love it.
Right. And so I think, again, it goes back to the heart of the matter for me. I mean, we have to start with a pure heart and know that, none of us are perfect. We all make mistakes. We're all doing the best that we can with what we have. And I think when you start from that place every time, there everybody is legitimate because you know that they are a child of God. Right. And so I'm gonna hit you. I'm gonna go vacation Bible school on y'all. Red and yellow, black and white.
Come on, brother. Come on.
They are precious in his sight. Jesus loves the little children of the world. And so, what it goes back to is we're all a one of one, right? We just have to realize that. And so when we realize that we are a one on one and we have value, I think it allows us, that exudes from us, and it allows you to treat others in that manner as well. And so everyone that you come across has value. I think that, that may be the issue in our society where, as people aren't starting from the heart, and so they don't really get to the heart of the matter, if you will. And so I think that when we can start from the heart and know that everybody that we come in contact with has value, it don't matter age, race, color, religion, none of that matters, right? We're all just striving to do the best that we can with what we have, and everyone that you come in contact with has value. And for me, I think that's where it starts and ends.
Chip, I just love that. I don't think it's a coincidence that that the word value has been repeated, multiple
Yes.
times. I don't know if I shared this with you, Chip, when we did our podcast, or Dre, I can't remember, but when I was the high school principal, the three words that the staff and the students heard every single day was that you were valuable, that you were complete, and that you were loved. Now, being in a secular school, I couldn't go really into what complete meant, because it was really more complete in Christ, that you complete in the fact that you lack nothing, as that we are all created by God, and we are, perfect in his eyes. And that, but we felt like there was not going to be any students were not going to see school truly as legitimate, and the school and the campus and the environment and the culture that we were trying to do as legitimate, until every student understood that we saw their value, that they held value, and that we weren't going, all those accolades and all the things that you want to achieve as a school building, being a school of excellence. And we talked about eminence was even more than excellence, going beyond, was the foundational level was that every single student had to understand that and hear that and feel that for us to be able to get there. First of all, that they were valuable, complete, and loved. And so we have to legitimize, but it can't just be a motto. It can't be a slogan. It can't be just something on the wall. I mean, it has to be, Dre, it's got to be real, right? So,
yes, for sure.
I think about, as you think about groups of people, political world, you name it. If we were, as you said, Chip, started with the heart of the matter, and with the, and with love in our heart. And I don't you think that one of the obstacles to seeing others as legitimate, Dre, is that we all, for some reason, we have this innate desire in us to always be right. Like I want to be right, and so I don't. Yeah, I love you, but I want you to hear what I have to say, and then that gets in the way of our of even having a conversation.
Honestly, Jeff, I can you help me kind of to explain? So you're saying that if you're that people ego gets in the way of them being real because they always want to be right. Am I making sense of that?
I don't have time. Yes. In other words, I don't see you as legitimate because you're wrong and I'm right.
Oh, yeah, I think there's several things that definitely get in the way of people from preventing them from not getting real. I think ego is one of them. It feeds their pride. And even I can be honest myself, I struggle in that area. Sometimes I let my ego get the best of me. So yeah, I think that's definitely something that could get in the way from people
Yeah.
preventing it real.
Seek first to understand. Stephen Covey used to talk about seek first to understand before, trying to be understood. We always, we want to have the first word and we want to have the last word and everything in between. Dre, I appreciate you being, real with that, but I'm with you. And I'm sure Chip could tell you the same, that we all demonstrate elements of that, and, in different roles that we play, and do as I say, not as I do. I'm right, you're wrong. I mean, basically, we're just sometimes trying to be the loudest voice in the room. And if we're always trying to be the loudest voice in the room, then I'm not seeing you two as legitimate because there's not going to be room for a conversation, right? So, anyway, I just want to read this last quote. It says, "When we are treated with trust and respect and fairness, we tend to obey the law." Gladwell said, "What happens to people when they are denied legitimacy? They get angry, and people in authority forget how powerful and unstoppable that anger can be." So do we not see that played out today?
Can you read that one more time,
Oh yeah,
please?
absolutely. When we are treated with trust and respect and fairness, we tend to obey the law. In other words, we conform. Think about a student that you're trying to, or a team that you're trying to sway or lead or convey a message, and you want them to listen. Well, if they're treated, if I treat you well, you're probably going to conform long enough to hear me out. But if not, if I don't have that voice, then I'm not going to give you the time of the day. And so Gladwell says, what happens to people when they are denied legitimacy? Okay. They get angry, and people in authority forget how powerful and unstoppable that anger can be. So I think the reason I brought this up is because I see segments of our world that they don't feel like they have a voice. They don't feel credible. They don't feel valued or heard. And so they don't conform. And rather than the leadership saying, okay, time out, I'm going to reach across the aisle, or I'm going to listen, they just get louder and the cycle continues. And then there is no conversation. Thus, there's no legitimacy. And it hurts my heart as we're talking about getting to the heart of the matter. I think we just have to be aware in all of our circumstances that, as Chip said, we've got to see each other on the same level and start there. Or we're going to continue to just pick up our toys and go home.
Yeah, that's deep.
No, that was some good stuff you shared, Jeff.
Yeah.
I honestly, I just think about how, you know, that there's times where, like you said, in society where people's voices are not being heard. I think you even originally mentioned like the guy that what's his name? This is very recent. I think that was the first discussion we were going to talk about the. I think he played cornerback or safety for the Bills. But he passed out. He passed out. I can't think of his name right now, but I know that he passed out on the field.
Hamlin,
And
DeMar
yeah,
Hamlin.
and they wanted to continue playing, and I just feel like I kind of, because when I think about that, I think like would have continued the game. Those football players did not walk off the field. You know what I mean? Like it just seemed like, dang, it took a whole team to unite together to say they're not going to continue to play to play the football game, for their voices to be heard. But why couldn't that incident alone, that young man that passed out on the field, why wasn't that enough? Why wasn't his voice, that is a form of communication, saying I can no longer play? Like, why continue the game? I just think about a lot of scenarios where, and I can go all day about this, where our voices, or just in different cases, are not heard. And leadership, and people of power tend to be on a power like mission where they feel like they have all this power and they can't be stopped, and they forget about the people that are real. Like, we should see each other equal. It doesn't matter the title, the position, or their social economic status, or how much money they make. Everybody should be seen as equal. But of course, in America, that's just not realistically the case in all cases.
Yeah. Yeah. So Chip, what's the lesson here? I mean, what could you? I mean, you're so good at wrapping things up and putting a bow on it. I mean, what would be? I mean, you and I, we all know we could talk another hour. Or long on this, and this is a topic that maybe we do a part two somewhere down the road. I mean, I don't think it's a. I think it may be a theme that is weaved through other topics that we talk about. But tonight, what would be a closing reflection for us?
I think as as we close and we reflect again, I think that it's so deep. When you think about legitimacy, because the initial when you brought it up as far as legitimacy, I was just thinking surface, legit, worthy, those kind of things. But as you went through the principles and talked about the different things that Gladwell had broken down, it's really it's a substance, it's a deep level thing, because you can look at the makeup of what we do on a day-to-day: teamwork, family. You can go into society, like we did today. I mean, it's so deep. But again, for me, I feel that it goes back to the heart of the matter, and so I think, we have to govern our hearts, guard our hearts. It starts with showing and giving love and being love. And I think that if we can I think for me, that would be the whole theme of it, is, it all comes from the heart. And kind of like what Dre was saying, I think I broke it down as you get what you give.
Mm-hmm.
If you're giving love and respect and adding value and showing legitimacy and showing to others that you believe that they're legit, then you will receive those things in return. And so I think as we wrap up, that's for me, as far as what the closing pieces will be. And I guess we can all go around the horn and just kind of talk about, our closing, what we got from it, if you don't mind.
Ray, what you thinking?
No, I think that this was definitely a good conversation, good dialogue to have around this topic. I think if I could say anything, always look to add value and always look to add, just to add value. Like I don't really have anything profound, deep to say. If anything, it's just to add value as much as you can in every area of your life.
I love it. Guys, I would just say, I guess a question that I would leave our listeners is, how's your heart condition? Or what condition is your heart in? And does it need a checkup? A checkup from the neck up, or whatever, but that affects your heart, and so, and it's just, I hope one of our goals in this series is that we just cause people, we don't have to give answers. We can ask a lot of questions, but we hope that those questions cause you to pause.
So good, Doc. Well, I love as we close, if all of us can go around, Dre, if you don't mind, we'll start with you. Just share with the audience, your social media, where they can go follow you and check you out and show you some love, man.
Most definitely. So I did say a few different names last time, but you can find it at Mr. Schoolhouse. Instagram, Mr. Schoolhouse.
All right. Doc, what about yourself?
Website, Suit Up Ministries. Like you put on a suit, direction up, ministries, plural. Suit Up Ministries.org, or Jeff at suitupministries.org. There's a lot of, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, Twitter, at Suit Up Ministry is my Twitter. But probably the website and through there, or my email directly is the best, Chip.
All right. And mine is, all of my social media is at Chip Baker TSC, as in the Success Chronicles, except for Twitter, and Twitter is at Chip Baker 19. And so, I'd encourage you to, not only just listen and take what we're saying to heart, and focus in and synthesize the information we're giving you, but I also ask that you would, take some time and go check out each of our pages and the things that we have going on, because individually we have some great things, but when we come together, it's hot. So just want to say again, thanks so much, guys, for taking the time. Thank you, brothers, for being on another great session, and we'll see you guys next time. God bless.